Kaya, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. So far, tell us what has transpired regarding the trips to Dubai by the former Eskom executives. What have the travel agents been saying?
Well, that's right, Braden. So this is a very crucial testimony, especially because we know that quite a number of suspicious trips were undertaken. In this regard, two people are just being scrutinized. That's, of course, Anuj Singh, who was also having a very powerful position as a chief financial officer at Eskom, but also you do have Mr. Machela Gogo as well. But so far what has transpired is that in terms of these particular trips, so for example, in the case of Ms. Sameera Sooliman, she was arranging these trips because she was a travel agent, but also she does confirm that Mr. Singh in this regard was a man who preferred using cash. But there was one particular instance where Mr. Salim Essa, of course, a very key Gupta lieutenant in this regard, his name always shows, a very dominant character. So at one point, he had to fork out about 60,000 rand for Mr. Singh and his partner when they had to go to Dubai. I think that was around in 2015. But also it was quite interesting because, so then she said the company is based in Lenasia, but Mr. Singh would always send, she wasn't sure whether was it a driver or one of his colleagues, but they would usually drop cash from her house in Mayfair. But let's take a listen to this particular interaction.
Singh was travelling himself. All those invoices would have been made out to Mr. Anoj Singh.
Okay.
Because it was his air ticket.
Yes.
Although for my record on my statement, it would go onto Mr. Essa's account and next to it I would write Mr. Singh. So I knew it was payment for him.
Yes.
That needed to be collected.
Okay, so if Mr. Salim Essa called or his secretary to say, please make a booking for Mr. Singh, the invoice would be addressed to Mr. Salim Essa, and then you would make a note that it's in respect of Mr. Singh. Is that what you are saying?
No, sir. If it was Mr. Essa's booking for him, the invoice would be made out to Mr. Essa.
Booking for himself?
Correct.
Okay.
If it's a booking for Mr. Anoj Singh, whoever would call me, the invoice would be made out to Mr.
To that
Anoj.
person?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
It's Sameera Sooliman, the State Capture Inquiry. Of course, she's still on the stand, or she was on the stand earlier today. But can I understand there was some confusion about her affidavit? Tell us about that.
Especially because it's around how it was compiled. You know, the rule is it should be one witness per affidavit as opposed to combining certain facts. But in this regard, these two travel agents, so some of the information was collated and used as Sameera's information. So hence the inconsistency, because now the DCJ, the chairperson of the inquiry, was saying, well, they should try and rectify that particular error that's transpired. But of course, they are in the course of trying to fix that particular issue. But once again, let's just take a listen how that's actually unfolded.
Remember that this affidavit has been written on behalf of myself and Halima. This one here was written by Halima. She used to deal with Mr. Chala and Sahara Computers. So between Halima and I, we used to split the account. So she can clarify that when she comes on stand.
Well, this affidavit is not written on behalf of yourself and Ms. Allana. It's your affidavit.
We both have the same affidavit. We both have the same affidavit.
Well, your affidavit is your affidavit. You didn't both sign this one. You are the only one who signed this one, isn't it?
Yes, I signed it, but, okay, this was the story on 22.7.
Yeah.
Halima was the one who used to deal with Sahara Computers.
Yeah.
So yes, we used to, it was both the Travel Excellence account. But
so you know nothing about it?
No, I used to see the bookings being issued and stuff. I'm not saying I don't know about it. But when it used to come to the accounts and some of the bookings like for the Gupta passengers and the visas, etc., Halima used to deal with the Gupta account. And then that booking was made for Mr. Singh was made when Mr. Chala contacted Halima to make the booking.
But the question is, you have personal knowledge of what you wrote in paragraph 22.7? Or is it something that is only known by Ms. Allana?
No, I know about it because every booking that Halima makes or I make, we can see each other's emails and we can see each other's bookings. So
Yes.
I am aware of the booking, yes.
Yes, but you didn't deal with the people in regard to this booking yourself.
No, sir.
I guess the point that the Deputy Chief Justice is making, an affidavit must be a standalone document that you only sign, but the information there must only be related to your own activities, because she was saying some of that activity of the booking was done by the colleague Halima.
Precisely, and as much as she's aware of certain events, but if she's not really fully, acquainted to the stuff, it should be with the other party as opposed to combining everything. So as much as they are related, but there should be a separation, as it were.
Yeah, that makes sense, but we'll hear what Halima is going to have to say when it's their turn to be on the stand. Thank you very much. Kaelihle Khumalo there on the latest what's taking place at the state capture.